Hey, scrappy people, it's Tracy Reed here today, coming at you with a 9x12 process video. This is the companion page to the Adventures Await 9x12 pocket page I put up last time, and this is the set of photos for my 9x12 of us fishing, and I have the Simple Stories Happy Trails collection, and it has this perfect little fishy fishing paper, but I really wanted to use that brown wood ring circle looking paper as well, so I decided to rip the edges of the fishy paper so that you could see the wood grain paper in the background. I could have cut, the page or the paper smaller, but I liked the texture that the ripping gave. I've been doing that a lot lately, tearing paper. Things go in cycles and I'm feeling the tearing lately. So I am just going to layer these together, and for a moment I decided that I love this plaid in the background, which I really do. So I thought maybe I would put a little layer of plaid as well, but it covered up too much of the wood grain, and so I decided against it in the end, because the whole point was to show off the wood grain. But yeah, no, we're not going to do that. Even though I try. Keep tearing. Then decide no. So I have these two horizontal 4x6 photos. They're not quite 4x6, they're a little bit smaller because that's how I print my photos. I wish a little bit that I had printed them smaller, but once they're printed, I am not going to reprint them. That is just a waste of time and effort. But noted going forward, I need to start printing my 4x6s a little bit smaller so that they fit a little bit better on these 9x12 pages, especially when there's two of them. But I'm going to layer these two together a bit just because there's so much white space in the photos anyway. And I want to add some patterned paper, like color delineation here. So I'm going to offset matte some of these, or actually both of these photos, not some of them. Both of these photos. I'm going to do this one in orange, and then I'm going to do the top one in green. And I'm going to offset the matting so that it doesn't overlap in the corners where the photos are going to overlap. So it's kind of offset, almost like a shadow would be, like a drop shadow. And I'm just going to trim it down so that it's even on both sides. 2 rows of dots, just because visually that makes it feel better for me. And then I'm going to do the same with this green paper. And I'm just eyeballing it. Of course, I'm not being super exact with my measurements. I'm not generally that kind of scrapbooker. Plus, eyeballing it is kind of what I do, and it's a skill I've developed at this point. Things end up being a little bit crooked, not too bad, but no big deal. No one's going to be looking at my scrapbook layouts going, that looks crooked. Alright, so now I've got them both layered, and I'm going to start building my layout. So I have this 4x4 card, and then I have two 2x2 cards from the papers, and I'm going to sort of create just one big cluster in the middle with all of these things. I don't want to cover up the photo too much. This is going to sort of become my title for the page. Let's go outside. It's a nice big word art, so that works perfectly. Then I'm going to take the two 2x2 cards, and I'm going to just sort of use them as like I would any other sort of die cut. That's typically how I use 2x2 cards. Sometimes I'll cut them out, but I like the blockiness of the composition of this layout, so I'm not going to cut them out. This whole thing took about 20 minutes, which was super fast and awesome. I almost thought about doing this as a real-time process video, but even though it only took 20 minutes, I kind of moved a little bit slow, so I just sped it up. So I'm going to go through all the die cuts now, and I'm just going to create, I'm really wanting to create, I'm obviously using the fish and the trees and stuff, but I'm really sort of wanting to stay in the blocky zone. So I'm using a lot of rectangular embellishments as well on this page. And then I'm just breaking it up with that, with a couple fish and a couple of these trees and things like that. I want to create some nice layering pieces. I need somewhere to add my journaling since I didn't add it to the pocket page side. So I'm thinking about that as well. And man, I keep trying to incorporate this fishing pole and I just can't get it to work on any of my layouts. Makes me mad. I'm going to use this as my journaling block. So I thought about tucking that tag up there, but I'm going to keep it instead of covering up all that journaling spot. I'll keep it for a future layout because it's going to be more usable for me than what I actually end up using and layering up there, which is this it's a camping permit journaling spot, and like I said previously, we don't camp, so I'm just going to use it as a layering piece like I would any other sort of ephemera. So save that tag for actual usage instead. So now I'm ready to start adhering everything down. Got my basic composition all figured out. Want to cover up most of this. So I'm going to stick it down underneath there pretty far, and then I'm going to put the exploring over the rest of it, just so you can see campground permit. So I like the repetition where it says exploring at the top and then the fishing die cut at the bottom. Exploring and fishing makes sense to me. Gonna have this tree go right off the edge. I decided to use the bigger tree on that side because I had more vertical space to work with, so I switched those trees up. Framed it with a little fishy. It echoes the fish on the pocket page on the other side, and I will show you the two pages together at the end of this video. If you haven't watched the pocket page side, it was the video I posted right before this, so you can go back and watch that as well if you'd like. I want to work in this other fishy. He's more realistic looking, and I don't think I'd ever have any reason to use him except for on a fishing page, so he needs to end up here. Man, I tried so hard to get that fishing pole to work, and actually it doesn't look too bad right there, but when I was working in the actual moment, I didn't like the way that looked, so it didn't end up making the cut. I tried. Oh well. Trying to get this last couple embellishments in here that are really fishing related, and then I am just about done here. And I will pull together, I want to bring in some of these mosquitoes like I had on the pocket page side, just because, again, they look like starbursts, so they act as a sort of star embellishment for me, but also because there were bugs everywhere, and also it ties the two pages together. So I'm going to I try to pull in another fishy or two, but the size differential wasn't really working for me. And so I'm going to pull in a couple of word strips and call it good. You know me and my word strips. There's lots and lots of words on all of my layouts all the time. I'm big on words. I'm cool with that. I wanted to use this get outdoors, but then I had that let's go outside, and so it was a little bit too repetitive for me. But I'm going to pull in one of the tabs off the 12 by 12 sticker sheet at the top here, and then we're good. Discover, explore, go outside. I like it. I tried to incorporate another one. Nope, not going to happen. So I'm going to pull together both of the layouts so that you can see them together. So here's the 9 by 12. Oh yeah, one more. Gotta get rid of this fishing lure. There we go. Okay, so this is the 9 by 12, and then we've got the matching pocket page layout. Nope, you're not going to make it work. You're not going to do it. We've got the matching pocket page layout that I'll pull up here in a second. and then we are good to go. So if you enjoyed this video, I'd love it if you give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe. I would love to have you, and if you don't already, you can follow me over on Instagram. My handle is @TracyMReed, and I have my scrapbooking stuff over there, as well as our adventures in Tennessee and a few other things. All right, thank you.